Officials in the United States are finding themselves in a tight spot trying to dispel conspiracy theories surrounding the killing of Osama bin Laden. They're looking for ways to prove bin Laden is dead without releasing graphic photos that could really inflame Islamic sentiment. David Common is following the aftermath of the bin Laden assassination. He joins me now live from New York. More details, David, are emerging about the U.S. mission to get bin Laden. What are you hearing this morning?
Well, Suhanna, you talk about those photos. John Brennan, the president's national security advisor, has come out this morning saying that we might actually release a photo. They're trying to weigh exactly what would happen in the Islamic world if they were to do that, what kind of reaction there would be. Let's remember just for a moment that bin Laden was shot twice in the head, so the photo is going to show that. In terms of some of the details of the operation, we do now know that Navy SEALs, these commandos, left a base in Jalalabad. It was about midnight in Afghanistan when they left, flew in 2 helicopters very rapidly, 79 of them in total going into this compound. The problem is when they got there, one of their helicopters actually stalled, had a very rough landing, and before the operation completed, they actually had to blow it up. They brought in 2 more helicopters, and that was used to extract them. But once they were actually on the ground there, this is where it gets quite incredible. About 40 minutes, the overall operation, they moved through this compound. They found a number of women and children, tried to separate them. We did hear yesterday that a woman was used as a human shield by one of these bodyguards in the compound. Both the bodyguard and the woman were killed in the course of this operation. It was actually at the later stage of the operation up on the 3rd floor of this building, which had really seemingly been purpose-built. It was on that 3rd floor where OBL, as they call him, was found, and that's when the call went back to CIA headquarters for God and country, Geronimo, Geronimo, Geronimo. Geronimo being the code word for bin Laden captured or killed. In this case, Leon Panetta, the CIA director, over a secure video link back to the White House, radioed to President Obama and his national security team in the Situation Room that bin Laden was EKIA, enemy killed in action.
I want to talk about Pakistan as well, David, because the government there has faced criticism for its performance in the fight against global terrorism. It has been accused of harboring bin Laden and also other key members of al-Qaeda. What is the government in Islamabad saying about those accusations?
Well, they took an awfully long time to actually respond. I think they were probably stunned by the news as much as anybody else. They were one of the last countries in the world to respond to this, and they came out and said, look, we basically didn't know he was there. A lot of people find that hard to believe, but even President Obama's inner circle is saying we see no indications that the ISI, the Pakistani spy agency, was aware that bin Laden was there. It is clear bin Laden had some kind of help. He did not own that house that he was in. The house, as I say, purpose-built, had high walls. It was the largest building in that compound, had a separate interior security wall, opaque windows that looked out on the street so you couldn't see in. There was barbed wire. There were guards in guard huts outside. Clearly there was food being brought in and out. This was a comfortable lifestyle, not a cave somewhere in the Hindu Kush. So that's what the Pakistanis and the Americans are trying to figure out now, is just who was harboring Osama bin Laden near the very end. It's quite conceivable that the Americans know that already and simply haven't released that information. The interesting part with the Pakistanis also that they weren't told about this operation. So when people reported hearing all these explosions taking place in the compound, and let's not forget the compound was just a short distance away from a Pakistani army barracks, that soldiers from the Pakistani army started preparing themselves and started racing down to that scene. Of course, by the time they got there, all of it was over. The Navy SEALs were out. Osama bin Laden's body was on the way to that aircraft carrier where it was dumped at sea.
Thank you for the update, David. That's David Common in New York.